And when we have like another 2008 sort of crisis and things start to snowball, I want to protect myself.
Right.
And so that's what I really, the message I want to get across. And I want people to think about the things like investing in the stock market, or even if you're not investing at all, how crucial it is to do whatever it takes to be able to save something, and not in a bank, but in something like real estate or crypto, or even, at
Real
least
estate.
something.
Yeah.
And there, debt is okay if you can manage it, but also, because like right now, debt is not probably smart because interest rates are really high. But if you can get a loan for whatever at lower interest rates, like a lot of people did for a long time, that's a pretty good thing that you can do. You
Mm-hmm.
just have to manage it and be careful with it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the whole thing. And so I'm trying to educate myself. I know Sandy is, about, um, any way that we can not have the stuff we're talking about affect us. And so
Right.
that's what we're also trying to get across to people too. It's like we want everyone to start thinking about this, because I know what it was like. I'm sure Sandy does too. Like when you are just inundated with life, and you've got, kids to take care of, and you've got, they're sick, and you've got a career, and you've got, all these things. And it's hard just to wake up and do all that. And now you have to think about, I have to invest, I have to cut back, or or save something so I can prepare for that rainy day. I mean, people have been saying that for a long time, but now it's just so important.
Yeah. The rainy
And
day is here.
the rainy day is here, and it always can be worse. There's always a next rainy
Right.
day, right?
Right.
And the thing about it that I also want to really help people understand is that the traditional ways that most people have been saving for the last 40 years are going away. They're changing rapidly. Like right now, investing in the stock market isn't the best way to do it. If you could pick and choose which stocks, because like some stocks like Nvidia and are going crazy, but for the most part, people go into these funds that just mimic, the S&P 500, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And over time, they do go up, but right now they're not going up as much. So that's why crypto is going up much faster. And but
Right.
again, it's a learning curve. You got to kind of understand it, because you can't just throw your money into crypto if you don't understand it, because it's very
Right.
volatile. But
Right.
it's like right now, both Sandy and I we're trying to understand real estate. It's another very sort of hard
Trying
asset,
to, right.
and is an area that we want to invest in. It's complicated, but it's like we both believe that right now we're going to do anything that we can to protect ourselves.
That's
And
right.
unfortunately, copying the rich is one of the ways to do it. And that's the other thing too. It's like, don't, like, yeah, it's unfair. The income inequality is unfair, but
I
it is
heard
the way it
something a
is.
lot this weekend about being counterintuitive.
Mm,
So we were sold persuasion and propaganda a long time ago to get people working. They had to promise them the American dream. So
right.
the reason people went into work on both sides, women and men, both, was for the American dream. And what's the American dream? Own a house, own a car, put your kids through school, get a good education, you know, pay for their education. Uh, so we've been sort of, sold that American dream. So, uh, I had a lot of light bulb moments myself this past
It's
weekend.
changing. That's the thing. That
Uh,
was the
the
dream.
American dream was that, and hold on to your money. Say your parents always said, save your money, save your money.
Right.
Well, how did that do for you? Like, like the bank is making money off your money. You're not making the same interest rate exchange that they're making off of your money. You aren't making the money off your money. They are making the money off of your money.
That's
So you
true.
just have to think about that.
But you still had to
And
save, right? It's like depended where you save,
do
right?
you have
So
to say,
people,
okay, so you have to save.
you have to invest. That's the thing. And to me, that's
That's
a different
correct.
word.
That's what I'm trying to say. I
Saving is
mean,
like putting
it
it
changed
in your
my
pocket.
mind about things because I mean, I've always heard that. I've felt like a failure because I haven't owned my house outright, owned it. Okay. But I wasn't supposed to, like, anyway, I learned a lot, and that makes sense. A lot of things that make sense to me now.
And
The
you got
reason that the
educated.
wealthy are wealthy, unless they have old money, they don't live in the same houses. They're constantly moving to different houses. They don't stay in one house and own it. They're pretty much just, you know, leasing it and then moving on to the next one, depending on their success rate. So you have to look at what they do also. Like I said, I'm not talking about the Vanderbilts. I'm not talking about you know, the people with old money. Old money still have the mansions and the castles and the
Yeah.
whatever, right? New money, ask a wealthy person if they live in the same place that they've lived for the last 10 years. They'll tell you no. I've moved. I went here, went there. You know what they invested in? They've invested in other things with that money that they're saving by not owning. So,
Well, if what they've said for a long time is that your primary residence, well, not for a long time, but recently, should never be your investment. It should never be your investment. It's your dwelling. The people made a lot of money, have made a lot of money, but people are now lured into thinking that, oh, I've got all this equity in my house, and that's going to save me. Not anymore. Everything
it's
is
not going to
changing, and
save
that's
you
why,
unless you sell it. It's not going to save you unless you sell it.
right? You
It
can't do
can't
any.
save you if you sit in it.
And if you sit in it and it goes down or whatever, I mean, there's lots of variables
Mm-mm.
to it. Let's put it this way. And I think the thing to leave people with though is that you got to get educated. You can't sit on your hands
Right.
anymore and
And
just
and I
head down.
I'm still learning. Still learning. Still learning. Still learning. Over 50, still learning.
Oh yeah. Come
Finally
on.
finally
You-
learning the right ways.
if you're not learning new stuff, you're going backwards. That's
Yeah.
my motto.
Yeah.
But the thing is that what Sandy and I are doing now, I think at like we had our head down. We were just living life or whatever. And I
That's
know for
right.
me, I'll just speak for me. I didn't save or invest enough for a retirement. Just and the thing is, the middle class is going away. It's harsh to say, but
Mhm.
in America, it's hard to be even just middle class.
Mhm.
So you've got to work twice as hard, educate, I guess. I mean, because again, the 9 to 5 is great, but you've got to figure out a way to invest because the 9 to 5 just barely keeps you even.
Right.
And in reality, the middle class is losing
Right.
that
Yep.
battle. So
So we
you have to
you got
figure
to
out a
start
way to
being
invest.
smart. You got to start
And
being
and it
smart.
and yeah, but it's educating because there's a million different ways to make money. But one of the things I'll say is that what we have to also get over like just dogging the rich. Yeah, because like let's just try to emulate like the rich don't pay a lot of taxes. Now it's not like they're tax evaders.
They're not.
They pay
No.
tax in other ways. Like if they own
They
properties,
just
they
do
pay
it the
property
right
tax
way. They do
and
it
they
the right way.
offset. They learn to offset
They
things. They're
did
not
that,
doing
and
anything
that's how they
illegal.
did it.
This is
Yes.
the damn thing. They're not doing anything illegal, but they have enough money to do it. And all I'm saying is that we should look into how are they doing it and see how we can do it a little bit ourselves. And we can. You can do that with your yeah. So there are different ways to do it. It's education and just
Yeah.
knowing that if you're not looking into this stuff now, you're just losing every year to inflation.
Right.
And when shit hits the fan and there's just you know you want to be prepared. That's where we are
Yeah.
now,
Let's be
and,
prepared.
and so we want to talk about that a lot. In fact, for me, Freedom Life 3.0 is 90% about financial freedom.
Yeah.
But I also want to be healthy so I can enjoy it. So I need to focus on that
That's
and to
right.
realize that the pharmaceutical industry, the medical industry, if
Yeah.
I just
They're
follow
not
what they
helping.
want, I'm not going to be really
They're not
healthy.
helping.
I'm just going to be stuck on their chemicals and their drugs. So,